I think there's been a movement in the last year, maybe longer, probably longer, with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the instability in natural gas prices. There's been also a court decision out of The Hague with involving Shell, where they determined that if Shell was not producing natural gas, it would just mean that more coal was being produced, which would mean that it would increase emissions. And so it was pretty clear that the recognition that natural gas is a way to reduce global emissions. We've already shown leadership on that. We phased, albeit probably too early and at too great an expense, phased out coal in Alberta in favor of natural gas, which resulted in a 53% reduction in emissions. So we've seen that. We've made major progress with our environment minister as well on reducing methane emissions by 45%. And there's more work to do there, and I think we can. The rest of the world, and I think there's an opportunity at G7 taking place in Kananaskis in June, and I would hope the world leaders adopt a resolution that nuclear and natural gas are both clean energy options, because the alternatives are just so much more damaging. So that's one part of it. And that's what I've been advocating for. And I think that there are other world leaders who are looking at doing the same. I can tell you, Japan and Korea are very, very keen to get more natural gas liquids, as well as more liquefied natural gas from us, so that they can continue to reduce their emissions profile, so that they don't have to look at coal as an option. And I think all the Asian countries are in a similar boat. So I think we have a bit of a change of heart coming. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go back to doing coal-fired electricity, although I note with interest that my neighbor in Saskatchewan has decided to do exactly that, because they hadn't phased out their coal plant themselves. But the other part I think we cannot underestimate is why China is bringing on coal-fired electricity. They're building coal plants on spec in anticipation they will need that power to fuel the AI data race. And I think we have to be very clear about what happens if China wins the race to manufacture intelligence. That is what AI is. We cannot allow China to win that race. That has to be a race that we win in the free countries of the world, in North America in particular. And we have the ability to do that, along with our friends in Quebec, who have been at the absolute lead in developing data centers, and many of their companies are looking at investing here. And part of the reason they're looking at investing here is because of our value proposition to have the ability to produce natural gas-fired electricity with low emissions. And that is exactly why we need to have the freedom, as we are going to argue in the court, to be able to have control over our natural gas, have control over our electricity grid, and be able to work with those nations who want to invest in this AI data race to be able to make sure that we win that race.